What's up, gamers? ZFarls here with the PlayStation 4 right here, and of course the Xbox One console to help you make a educated choice on which one you're going to choose. If you're getting it for Christmas, if you're getting it for the holidays, if you just have been waiting to buy, what are your best options? Why should you choose one over the other? I'll say it right now, both systems are excellent, both are fun, both have plenty of games, both are pretty much similar, but they each do a little bit different things better, and I'll try and help you decide which will be better for you. I picked up the PS4 on launch day and was able to get some good hours in with Madden NFL 25 and Need for Speed. I also picked up Resogun from the PSN store, which is a great arcade game, and I picked up Call of Duty Ghosts on PS4. Now, I also picked up the Xbox One on launch day, but the only game I had for a little while was Forza. So I was playing a lot of racing on Xbox One and just trying to figure out how to use the console and messing around with the Kinect and all that. I recently used the Amazon upgrade program, which you can click on a video right here that I'll be making that actually teaches you how to upgrade your games using Amazon and whether or not it's a good experience. But the games I picked up from Amazon this weekend were NBA 2K14. I had already had live, actually, Battlefield 4 and FIFA 14. So I did pick those up, and I played them all weekend to get ready for this, because I wanted to make sure I had some game comparison time, not just straight system. Overall, games played great on both. Battlefield 4 is a great time, but Ghost is also a great time. I feel like if I had Ghost on Xbox and Battlefield on PS4, it would still be just as fun. I'm not seeing a huge difference in either console. And just to get my biases out there, I started on the NES, went to Genesis, skipped SNES, went to PlayStation 1, Crash Bandicoot, shout out, skipped N64 but played it at all my friends' houses, GoldenEye, all that jazz, went PS2 and had about 10 games, Final Fantasy, all those games. Ended up trading that in for when Xbox came out because I really wanted Xbox Live, went original Xbox, went 360, then I got a PS3, so I've had both. I did prefer the Xbox 360 to the PS3 pretty heavily. I was not a huge PS3 guy, and then I picked up PS4, and now I'm at Xbox One. So that's my background. I've owned most of the consoles, and I've definitely played all of them. So last important note is the PS4 is $400, and the Xbox One is $500 retail. That does not include a second controller or games or live subscription, so you want to budget for that too. Now we're going to get into looking inside the consoles and help you guys decide a little bit more in depth. Alright, we are booting up the PS4. As you'll see on the top of the console, blue light turns on. As we have a second here, I'll tell you, my first PS4 did suffer some random turning off problems. I believe it was overheating, and I was able to take it to the Sony store and get it exchanged for a brand new working console. So I know there were some HDMI issues and some overheating problems at launch from what I heard. I did suffer, but my friend Steve, who has the console, did not. So when you come on to PlayStation 4, you hit the PS button and you're able to choose who you want to log into the controller. Sony had a better system for turning on and off controllers and user profiles on PS3 versus 360. Made it a little bit easier. This is still pretty good if you want to change screens. The other person on a second controller can actually hit the middle button and change it, and you can actually log out of PS4. That will turn off your controller. So it doesn't seem like you can turn it off, but you can. The controller's pretty nice, and you have the charging port in the back. No batteries, just a straight charging pack, which is nice. So here we'll check out the interface. This is PSN, the friends list. You know, PSN was free on PlayStation 3, but now you currently have to pay for it on PS4. The pricing, I picked up a year of PSN on Amazon for $29.99, but generally it's probably going to run you $49.99, I believe. So double check on that and make sure you factor it into your costs. Obviously, Xbox, you have to pay for Xbox Live. It's a very good service, though. And you know, most people who argue for PlayStation mention that PSN was free, although nobody would argue that it was up to par with Xbox Live. Hopefully, with the paid service, it will become a better system. So, you know, some of the interface is pretty similar to PS3, but it is improved, and you're able to navigate a little bit quicker, a little bit snappier, and you have more power, more multitasking power, so you can get in, get out. You're able to log into your phone using Android, download the PlayStation app, and you can use it as a secondary keyboard, a secondary screen to type things in. You can click the right stick and kind of move the controller around as we're doing here to type in and hopefully that will work and make it a little bit easier to type on this system. So here's a game we downloaded, Call of Duty Ghosts. You can just simply click it and hit start, and it'll just start the game. So that's a nice thing. You don't have to change discs if you're using digital downloads. If not, you got to change the disc and put it in to play the game. But you'll see here, I mean, the quality is very good on this system, and you're going to be able to play, this game almost anywhere. We'll take a quick look at a squads match. One area I want to give PlayStation credit on is making the controller jack pretty universal. You can just plug in any headset into the headset, and you can actually then hold down the audio button, go to adjust devices. You can change the audio in your headset and change the volume, how loud it is. And you can also make it so that you can hear just the people that you're chatting with in the party chat, or you can make it so you can hear the entire game. So I have a nice set of headphones here. I'm able to actually listen to the game audio through the device, and now I'm able to hear footsteps. I'm able to hear pretty much everything, where the bolts are coming from, who's shooting, and all of that. I also want to say I've really been enjoying Need for Speed. I've played it on Xbox as well. That's the one game that I've had both experiences, and it's great on both systems. I've been enjoying it on PS4, but I know S. Gibbs has it on Xbox One, so it looks just as good, and it's a fun game. Fun title, racing title if you like arcade. Madden's good as well. Much improved for PS3, much different. Alright, so that was Call of Duty, and basically what you can do is you hit the center button, it'll back you out of Call of Duty. If you have a game in the tray, I would need Madden or Need for Speed in the tray to play because I don't have them downloaded. It will close, and you'll actually head into Need for Speed, and you can play. Overall, though, gotta say, PS4 is definitely earning my seal of approval, especially coming from PS3, especially hopefully improved PSN. There's still been some unreliability, and I had to change my password randomly last week, but in general, I still think it can improve to a competent level. I don't think it will ever get to Xbox Live's level of just overall service, overall reliability, and just fantasticness, but as long as it's serviceable and it gets the job done, and they focus on it, they know it's a weak point, that's pretty good. Alright guys, last thing on PS4 is you have the PlayStation Store. Funny story, it's actually down for maintenance right now, and that's going to be the biggest question about the PS4, is if you're buying one of these systems, you're going to be an online gamer, you need to have reliability. PS3, it was always, well, we're not paying for it, so it's good enough for free. Now you're paying for it, yes, you need it to be better, you need it to be pretty good all the time. It's been pretty good so far. I haven't had too many problems with it, so I can't complain one way or the other, but, are you betting on PS4 to step up their game near where Xbox Live is? Or are you going for the reliability, going the little bit extra mile to get a better service? Overall, though, big fan of PS4 so far. Really liking what it's bringing to the table. Like that they didn't completely change their whole interface. They did improve upon it. At first, I will say at first I wasn't impressed with the new interface for PS4. I thought it was too much like their old interface, but the more I use it, I like that they kind of kept it simple but kept it familiar. And so far it's been working pretty well for me. I love just downloading games and being able to pop it in and play it. I love the simple headset trick that we learned right there. And overall, I love the share feature. PS4, so we've talked about the games, we've talked about the controller, we've talked about the reliability. I want to talk about the share feature. Now, share is if we go back into game right here, you can actually push the share button, and at any time it will take a screenshot of what you pressed when you hit share. So it'll pause the game and press the share button. As you can see, we were playing Need for Speed, and here's our image. You can share it to Facebook or Twitter. Now, you can also capture video. Whatever, I believe it will always be recording the last 15 minutes of your gameplay. So whatever the last 15 minutes you played, you can hit share at any time. It will record any and all of that. That's pretty nice as well. You can then go upload those clips to Facebook, and then you can edit them off of there. Something I'd like to see added to share to really make it much more improved system is the ability to just take the file straight off the hard drive. So what I mean by that is to upgrade the functionality of it. Don't make me share it to Facebook, don't make me share it to Twitter. I have these files already saved on my console. I want to just be able to preview them. I want to be able to just get them off onto my computer and be able to edit them to my heart's content. I don't want to have to put them on Facebook, put them on all the other things, all the other sharing platforms. I just want to have them to myself. Some gamers use the Elgato and other systems to be able to capture all their own gameplay. That is blocked on PlayStation 4 until January, I believe, is when the patch is coming, somewhere around there. So you want to make sure that you know that going into it. Here are just some random screenshots that I captured, but I do love the ease of the share button. On Xbox, there's a similar feature that we'll talk about, but I have really enjoyed the PlayStation 4. Just, hey, hit it, and then you can also, what you can do is broadcast your gameplay. So you can either use Twitch or Ustream, which are two services to share your gameplay online. So if you're just playing, you go to Twitch, you can share what you're playing, and it works pretty well. Once again, reliability, it's worked for me most of the time. 90% of the time it's worked pretty well. A couple times the game's gone down, but you'll be able to see people chatting with you. You can share your links to Facebook and Twitter, and you can play different games on there. So if you're somebody that likes to share their gameplay or wants to get into that scene, this is a good way to start at a cheap price because it's all built into the console, and I think that PlayStation did a pretty good job there making it functional for everybody. But once again, I'd like to see just them take it to the next level. One other reason to get a PS4 is if you already have the Vita, there's a lot of cross-play opportunities. So if you're a kid out there and your son already has a Vita, maybe you want to get them the PS4 rather than the Xbox because it's compatible and they can play the Vita through the PS4 with cross-play. That's just another thing to look into and know that going into it. All right, we're going to jump over to the Xbox One here and show you some features of that console, and we'll let you see what you think. All right, guys, we're back here on Xbox One. I do not have the Kinect plugged in currently, but I've had it plugged in for over 90-95% of the time I've played Xbox One. So I've used it a lot. I've used it more than I've used the controller to navigate. So I know how well it works, and I'll explain that in a few seconds. Basically, this is the new interface for Xbox One. You can see these tile-like things here. These will update with what you've used most recently, and they'll show you your games, your apps that you've downloaded, your profiles, and everything that you need. Now, Xbox 360, in my opinion, was much easier to navigate than PS3, and Xbox One's lost some of that ease of navigation. I do like the ability to use the Kinect to say, if I wanted to say Xbox, go to TV, it would know to go to TV. But as I navigate with the controller here, it's hard for me to find. I had to find the settings menu earlier, and it wasn't right here because I had never gone to settings before. I actually had to use the start button on the controller, which is no longer the start button, to get to what I needed. So the Xbox One's obviously set up for multitasking. You can be playing a game. You can then use this snap feature to play anything else. So if we wanted to watch NFL while we were, navigating over here on the left, that's an option that we have. But ideally, I still think it's just too difficult to use. There's too much going on. There's too much Windows 8 form factor into this. So as you can see here, the Xbox One is built to multitask just like the PS4. I'd say even better at multitasking than the PS4. This is the snap bar on the right side of the screen. You can open up any other app. You can play your TV up in that corner. You can make it go full screen while you are able to utilize the technology on the left side of the screen here. So you can pop it out full screen, the snap bar, and then what you can do is hit the middle button and then go back to the home screen. As you see, it still plays in there. This is where I was getting lost, but like I said, if you hit this start button, or you can talk to it, say connect, you can then quit from there. So it is set up to multitask. To me, it's a little bit distracting. I think that these tiles over time will. I don't think with Xbox One this is the final layout and how you're going to be navigating for the rest of the time you own the system. I just don't think that this is the optimal choice for how they've done it. I think with the Kinect plugged in, it's a manageable system. It's about a 6 out of 10 to navigate. But I think with Xbox 360, it started out not very great, but that by the end of it, they learned all your habits, they learned your tendencies, and they built their system around that. Whereas Xbox One, I don't think they've learned it yet either. As somebody who's played 360 and Xbox Original, I don't even know really how to use this quite yet. And I spent almost 15 hours last weekend just playing Xbox One and just sticking with it and just messing around and just testing the limits of what it can do. And I'm still not quite understanding all that it can do. So I think there is a ton of power on this thing, but I don't think the setup is quite as good as it needs to be. Yes, PS4 simpler. Yes, you can do more with Xbox One. You can say, hey, Xbox, snap, and it will snap it up on the screen. But I don't think it's mastered yet. So looking at the controllers, you can see we have the Xbox One controller and the Xbox original controller. You have the knobs on the new Xbox controller. They sit a little bit higher when you're holding it. You have the A buttons a little bit closer to the right stick, in my opinion. You have a clickier D-pad, which is actually better, but you also have a clickier RB, LB button, and I don't really like the new Xbox click button. The triggers are better though, especially playing a game like Forza. You can actually feel the rumble in the right and left triggers at separate times. So if you're hitting the gas, you're getting rumble only on the right side. It's the 4-speed feedback, I think they call it, and then you get the left trigger. Still feeling pretty good. So I'm still getting used to it. I don't like that the thumbsticks are higher. That's really kind of throwing me off, and the buttons are maybe a little flatter. But there is some potential with this controller, although I'd give the edge to the PS4 controller a little bit right now, whereas I would definitely give the edge to the 360 controller over PS3 any day. Xbox also has a battery pack, so you're going to want to get some more rechargeable batteries or a play and charge kit. As you can see here, Xbox Live, when you can now have more than 100 friends, you can now actually get followers, get your messages. With your achievements, it'll actually take you to a separate screen, which I don't like. If you're in the middle of a game and you hit the achievement buttons, it takes you into this achievement mode, and then it's just a difficult way to view your achievements in the middle of a game. So say you're in the middle of a game and you get your achievement, you hold down the detail button, it actually takes you into the achievement center, out of the game, it pauses the game, multitasks you into this achievement center, shows you the achievement, and then you hit the play button, and then it'll bring you back into the game and pause it. So it's just a different thing that I'm used to, whereas Xbox, when you used to hit the middle button in the center on 360, the thing would pop out at you, and you'd say, okay, I have a message, I'm going to hit it, and now I can see it. Whereas if you're playing with Xbox One, what it does is it syncs everything into the background, and then you can go actually look and see, but it kind of takes you out of the middle of the game. So I do like 360 where everything kind of popped out at you, and in Xbox One it kind of goes back down into the tiles like picture in picture, and I find stuff that I lose stuff, I find that it takes me out of the game. I find that, hey, I don't want to open this other app, I don't want to open the Achievements app just to see this stupid little one-sentence achievement. I don't want it to take away from the main game that I'm playing at the time. That's a little bit of something that's against the multitasking aspect. So here we are, FIFA 14, Xbox One. And currently we have both systems set to display at 720p just for our setup, but ideally you'd be playing these at 1080p in your setup. If you're a parent out there and you're wondering which console should I buy my son or daughter, which games are they going to want, make sure that they don't want a specific game that you can't get on the other console. If they want the game Rise, which has been average reviews, if they want Forza, which is a good game, a racing game, or if they want a game like Knack, which is only on PS4, try and find that out, because otherwise you might just be better holding off, or even just getting them a 360 if they're not a true gamer that's looking for the most recent one. Grand Theft Auto is a game that's, if they're young, they probably can't play, but in general, a game like that has been in development for over 3 years. With some of these new consoles, the games haven't been in development that long, and they don't know how to use the hardware quite like they do with like a Grand Theft Auto. So I will say an experience like Grand Theft Auto is a full-bodied gameplay experience with a lot of hours to be put into it. Games like The Last of Us, which came out for PS3, once again, a little bit of an adult game, but still just an example of how well they've learned how to use everything over the course of the console's life. So that's something that you want to check out. Are you sure they want next gen? Would you be better, because most of the games that are on Xbox 360 you can get for $20. You can get a game like Skyrim and play it for 100 hours, whereas they don't have those kinds of games yet for this. All the games are solid, they're all fun, but they haven't been, they have the most current graphics, but they don't maybe have the most in-depth experiences so far. So here's an example of changing games. You'd hit the Xbox guide button, you'd hit the start button, go down to quit, and then you could go into your games, and we can find Forza, which I downloaded. I was able to download this game straight, and it's similar to how I played Ghosts on PS4. I didn't have to put in a disc, I didn't have to change anything. It just loads up on the system pretty easy. So here we'll take a quick look at a race. We saw some racing action on PS4. This is a different game, so it's not the same game, so it can't be judged that way, but it's an exclusive Xbox One game. And then we'll talk a little bit about Kinect, we'll talk a little bit about the multitasking setup and how they want you to plug other devices in, and then we will get out of here with our final verdict. We don't want to take up all your time. Now, reminder, the Xbox One also comes with a headphone set to plug into your controller, but it doesn't have the standard easy-to-use jack like PS4 we showed earlier. You got to use that specific headset or buy something on your own. Also, racing wheels will not carry over to the Xbox One, so if you have some other hardware, make sure to double check that it's compatible. My guess would be that it's going to be a little bit more compatible with PS4 than it is with Xbox One. So the Kinect overall works pretty well. I'd say it pulls in about 75% of your voices. You could say Xbox record that. It will actually record your last 30 seconds of gameplay. You can say Xbox snap to TV. It'll put the sidebar in with the TV. You can say Xbox go to ESPN. It will change the channel to ESPN. You can say Xbox go to ABC. It will change the channel to ABC. If you have two TVs in your room already, I'm a hardcore gamer, as you can tell. I always have two TVs. I always have on my iPad. I always have a second TV. I don't really need the multitasking feature to plug the system into my Xbox. Now, if I was using the Kinect and I had a cool moment, I would be able to say Xbox record that, and it would actually record the last 30 seconds of your gameplay. You can then go in and edit it. So it's similar to the PS4 share feature we showed earlier. I've made some highlights and clips. I'm not sure where they save or where they go, but overall, same idea and same technology is in there. I hear that you will be able to stream in the future using Xbox, so that's a nice feature. It's already on PS4, but hopefully in the future. So Xbox does not have any. Currently, the Xbox, you can actually use your own hardware, like a Hoppage or an Elgato, to stream to Twitch, whereas PS4, you can do it straight from the console. PS4, it's blocked to stream on your own, whereas Xbox, you can stream on your own, but you can't stream from the console. So that's something to think about. In the future, both should be able to do both with updates, but ideally, you want to get the one that's more capable to what you can do right away. That's more of an advanced thing rather than somebody just looking who's not sure. Alright guys, so as I noted, if you're playing a game, you can say Xbox, record that, and it will record the last 30 seconds of your gameplay. What you then do is go into your game DVR, the Upload Studio, and you can actually edit and highlight and trim copies. You can actually voice it over. To do that, you need the Kinect plugged in. As I noted, I've used Kinect about 95% of the time. I currently didn't bring it in to do this review just because it's an extra thing to carry, and I was already carrying two systems, and I needed to be able to still fight people if they try to steal my stuff. So I don't have that plugged in. I can't show you how it works, but I have made clips. You can then upload them to your SkyDrive, and people can view them online. If I had to choose which sharing system's better on console, I would say PS4 currently. It's just a little bit easier to use and a little bit more mainstream. Xbox, you're able to create better clips. You're able to splice things together, voice things over, trim, do a lot different things with the editor on the console. Personally, as a gamer, I find it easier to just record everything myself, record everything I do, and then, like I'm doing now, and then cut it together. It makes life easier for me. So I don't use these things quite the same way that other people do, but overall, I do like just being able to take a screenshot anytime I want just by hitting the screenshot button. With Xbox, I can't figure out. I know to say record that, but it doesn't take a screenshot for me. I can't figure out how to just get just a straight screen and just get it off the console with Xbox. So with Xbox, they want you to watch TV through your console. You have a port in the back of the Xbox. You plug in your HDMI cable coming from your cable, and then you're able to use the snap feature or just general to watch TV through your console. We don't have TV hooked up at the moment, but it was very, very easy to set up the first time I did it. It knew what kind of cable I had, what type of TV I was using. It turns on my TV, and it does a pretty good job using it as something to watch TV through. As I noted, though, I currently already have another TV in my room. I find it a little bit distracting to watch TV on the sidebar. If I want to watch TV, I just want to watch TV. I don't feel like I need my Xbox for that task. That's a big area for Microsoft. If this is going to be your main console in your main living room, Xbox might be a good idea. If it's just going to be something on like a side TV where you just want to use it to play games, maybe it's not the best thing in the world for you. Same thing with Kinect. Xbox has the big power brick, which powers your Kinect. The Xbox is off, but the power brick's always on, plugging in the Kinect. And when you plug in the Kinect, you can actually just sit in front of it, say Xbox on, and it will turn on. So your Xbox is off. You can sit in front of the Kinect and say Xbox on, and it will turn on. So the Kinect is off, but if you just say Xbox on and you can't see your face, it will not turn on. But if you sit in front of it and say Xbox on, it will turn on. So even though it's off, it's really on. And this was brought to my attention first when I was just waking up in the morning, I was just in my pajamas, but I didn't have a shirt on. I sat in front of the Kinect. It then showed me what it was seeing, and I saw myself with no shirt on, and I was pretty depressed because the Kinect was just like staring at me, and I was like, I look pretty gross right now. It's 7 in the morning. I just want to play some video games. I don't want to talk to the Kinect. I don't, you know what I mean? So, I mean, even though the Kinect does give you good functionality and you can talk to it and it helps you kind of navigate a little bit easier until they figure out this interface, I'm just not all in on it. You know, I bought one, actually owned 2 or 3 Kinects for the original 360, but they never really released any killer software with it that you needed to play besides some of the dance games that are pretty cool. But overall, we'll see how they continue to use it, but it does feel a little bit like they're forcing you to use it. So you kind of do want to have it plugged in at all times. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting the full thing. But like me, it's awkward to sit and talk to the Kinect when, you know, your family's in the other room and you're talking to your video game system and they think they're talking to you. I'd rather just use the controller in those situations and, you know, not leave it plugged in. Give me the option, but it seems like they really want you to use it. So I just want to take a quick second to talk about Xbox Live, how good it is, and, you know, you almost take it for granted. You're still paying, you know, the $40 if you find a good deal, but maybe up to $50 to $60 a year to get your Xbox Live on. But it's very consistent. It's seemingly always up. The party system's still a very good way. You can still chat with everybody. Like I said, it comes with a headset, not the greatest headset, but it still comes with a headset to talk. You could talk through your Kinect. You can do a lot of different things with Xbox Live, and it's pretty much always going to be available for you. You know you're getting the best when you do it. So if you're a true online gamer, like I said, PSN's been doing pretty well for itself, but for the most part, Xbox Live has been always been kind of the best. So like I said, I mean, PSN is on the up and up. It seems to be better. It seems that Sony understands now you have to pay for this stuff if you want to make it top-notch. But Microsoft's known that since Xbox Original. So they're way out ahead. They have a lot of new servers for this launch. And they've been doing a really good job with you know, Xbox Live since day one. Like I said, their interface, maybe it's not the best in the world right now, but it's something that they can easily improve with all the new memory and hardware that they have. I will say for the first time, it does feel like Battlefield is able to almost catch up to the computer version of the game. You know, Conquest mode is a 64-player mode that's now available on the Xbox One and PS4. A lot of fun to be able to just run around with, you know, planes in the sky, tanks on land, sea vehicles, gunners, different weapons, everybody doing something else, trying to hold down a position. Made it a lot of fun to play those modes over the weekend. And, you know, depending on whether or not you're a Call of Duty guy or a Battlefield guy, it really depends on what you like. I love the quick battles, turning corners, shooting guys in Call of Duty. I also like the strategy of playing with my friends in Battlefield and trying to, you know, maybe hold down just a point and just doing your job and making things happen. So there's different things to like about both games. Both are good experiences, but I was glad to see that Battlefield truly did feel next-gen enough with all of the new hardware and able to get up to 64 players in Conquest. One other thing that I'd note that I haven't really used yet is Skype is available on your Xbox One. You can, you know, have your Skype username, log in, call people, use your credits and all that to just basically have your Skype name up at all times. So, alright guys, that pretty much wraps up the differences between the Xbox One and PS4. Those are the things I've liked about each of them so far. Once again, I would completely buy both again. I think that both are great options. Overall, if you're going to buy the PlayStation 4, you have to first ask yourself, is PlayStation Network something that I'm willing to pay for, and do I expect it to continue to get better? As I've noted, it has improved, but will it continue to rise and potentially meet the level of an Xbox Live? I don't know if it'll ever get there, but if it can get to a competent level, PlayStation 4 is going to be around for a long time, and it's a fun console with a great ability to share your content. All the games loads very fast, faster than the Xbox One, and it's a fun way to play, and it's $400. And if you're going to buy the Xbox One, what you have to ask yourself is, am I willing to use the system up to its full potential? Am I going to leave the Kinect plugged into this system to give it all the function that Microsoft has intended? Am I going to hook my cable up through this system, and instead of using my remote control, am I just going to use the controller and my voice to control this thing to watch TV even when I don't feel like gaming? If you do go Xbox One, guys, you know you're going to have a commitment to online service with Xbox Live. You know you pay for it. You know you get the most quality service. You know that the online is a great experience. What should you choose? I think ultimately what you want to do is go with where your friends are and where you think you're going to get the most value out of your system. Do you want to become a streamer who broadcasts their gameplay and doesn't want to spend any extra money to do that? Maybe you go PlayStation 4. Do you want to put this thing in your cabinet and go online and use it to watch TV as a whole multimedia center? You definitely go Xbox. It really depends on what type of gamer you are. Are you looking to play baseball games coming up? You got to go MLB The Show, go PlayStation. Do you really want to get a first look at Titanfall? Maybe you go Xbox One. I believe that game will be exclusive for 1 month to Xbox One. So it really depends on what system you want. It's all up to you. I think that either system, once again, is a great choice. I've had fun with both of them. Ultimately, right now, I'm a little bit more into my PS4. I don't know if it's because of the games that I have on there, because I like Go so much. I did have a great time with Xbox One this weekend, but ultimately the Kinect, until they upgrade the software menu on the home screen to make it a little bit easier for me to get around, I think PS4 is a little bit simpler for me at this current time. I still will always love Xbox Live. I'll always be an Xbox guy because of that service that brought me really into the forefront of gaming, and I think it is the wave of the future, and they're way ahead in that battle. So I think Xbox One will eventually catch up to where the PS4 is for me, my personal tastes, but ultimately that's where it is. So once again, guys, you have the PS4 with the controller at $400 and Xbox One with one controller at $500 with the Kinect. PS4 has the eye camera, which is another, I think, $60 or $70, and it does not come standard with the system. You don't need it or anything, but it does add some different type of Kinect-style games to the console, and that might be something that you might like, especially if you're a younger kid. All right, that does it for my review of my Xbox One and my PS4. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, guys, just leave them in the comments and I can answer them. If you want to troll me, if you want to flame me, you can do that in the comments as well, and I'll try and respond. I'm sure that I'm not using the Xbox One right. I'm sure maybe I can do a lot of the things I've been doing with the PS4 with the Xbox One, and I just wasn't sure. But that's just what my experience has been at this current time. So about 3 full weeks of each system, 2 to 3 weeks of full game time with it, and this is where I'm at. All right, have a good one. Send your questions below.